Ladies and gentlemen, we interrupt your regularly scheduled programming to bring you this special bulletin. If you are opposed to ideological nonsense pushed over any sort of character, story, or world building in your TV shows such as The Acolyte, then The Acolyte is not for you, and you are definitely not a Star Wars fan. At least that's according to former personal assistant to Harvey Weinstein, Leslye Headland, in this article from That Park Place. Leslye Headland declares people opposed to wokeness are not Star Wars fans. Now, what on earth, what does she mean by wokeness, or is that what John F. Trent put in here? That's a possibility. Let's go see what she has to actually say. Star Wars The Acolyte showrunner and former personal assistant to convicted felon Harvey Weinstein, Leslye Headland, has declared that people who oppose wokeness in Star Wars are not fans of the franchise. Ladies and gentlemen, The Acolyte is just not for you. Not going to be doing a review in regular form. We'll be doing that on a live stream, but I figured let's talk about some of the nonsense, some of the marketing that is coming out for The Acolyte before we start talking about it later. Oh boy, Leslye Headland's comments come in an interview with New York Times' Brooks Barnes, who maligned Star Wars fans as misogynistic for criticizing woke DIE casting of the show. Nah. Checkbox casting? Is that what's happening in The Acolyte? Well, if you look at the writing, it kind of makes you think so. Bad writing, checkbox hiring for the cast, those seem to go hand in hand. His example, a single YouTuber really, if it's so bad, if these misogynists and racists and homophobes are just so prevalent, surely you would have more than just one single comment to showcase, right? A single YouTube comment that questions, quote, why are there so many women, girls, and minority characters increasingly dominating the ranks of Jedi? Why not? Maybe the guys weren't up for the challenge. Who cares? Is the story good? The answer to come on my live stream on Wednesday nights. Yep, I'm shilling for my own product. Of course I am. Ironically, George Lucas made similar comments when asked if he was going to bring more women into the future of Star Wars in an interview with Starlog in February 1988. Really? I didn't know about this. Let's go on an adventure together. Lucas was asked, are you going to bring more women in for future Star Wars films? He responded, well, what of Princess Leia? And that's kind of our question. What of Princess Leia? Well, you have too many men. In the original Star Wars, you had three main characters. Chewie was secondary. R2 and C-3PO were secondary. You have your three main protagonists. Luke Skywalker, Han Solo, and Princess Leia. One third was an actual, legitimate, strong female character that people seem to be forgetting. Well, Star Wars fans don't forget. We bring her up all the time. She was a beloved character. But what's wrong with her? Do you have to forget about her over and over and over again? Back to the quote. What of Princess Leia? When you are making a war film, how are you going to put women in it? Oh my goodness, what a good point. Think of other war films. Think of The Longest Day. Those films. Well, it's your galaxy. I have to go with the rest of the world and still make it believable. Oh, if only. I'm not sure how many women will be in the rest of the films. My goodness, what on earth is this? That's the kind of thing that plot dictates. What would Star Wars have been like if Han Solo had been a woman? If the writing was on par for all the same, I think it would have been on par for the same. Han Solo didn't go around punching a lot of people, didn't do a lot of heavy lifting. He was good with a blaster and had an attitude. I think the Star Wars film, the original trilogy, would have been perfectly fine had Han Solo been a woman. Well, it would have made his relationship with Princess Leia a lot more interesting at the time. But anyway, moving on. Nevertheless, Brooks uses this single question to declare this as a version of the same misogyny and racism that greeted Rey, the female Jedi, granddaughter of Palpatine, played by Daisy Ridley, no kidding, who made her debut in The Force Awakens in 2015, and that drove Kelly Marie Tran off social media, which is in fact a lie, misinformation put out by the media. Oh my goodness. Not everything is as it seems. When she appeared in The Last Jedi, people did not dislike Kelly Marie Tran. People disliked the character of Rose Tico. People did not dislike Daisy Ridley. Actually, people like Daisy Ridley. She has a pretty good attitude, even to this day. People disliked the character of Rey Palpatine. There's a difference. Kelly Marie Tran explained why she left social media, because I can't talk right now, in an op-ed for the New York Times. The op-ed makes absolutely no mention of her decision had anything to do with Star Wars. In fact, the only mention of Star Wars is at the end of the op-ed, where she declares, "I'm the first woman of color to have a leading role in a Star Wars movie. You were a secondary character, not a leading role." Oh, Daisy Ridley also rejected the narrative posited. Yeah, exercise my fate. Never mind. That could be taken a whole bunch of different ways. In January of this year, during an appearance on the Today Show, I do like this one. They asked her about what she thought of the fans, and she mentioned that she never really had a problem with the fans. But where, oh, where? Let's see. Kathleen Kennedy, who runs Lucasfilms, also experienced it. Oh, yes. After clearly trying to gaslight his readers regarding Star Wars fans with Kelly Marie Tran and Daisy Ridley, Barnes then brings up South Park lampooning, what South Park lampoons everything. They have no boundaries. They go after everyone. Lampooning Kathleen Kennedy's handling of the Star Wars and Lucasfilms. Put a chick in it and make her lame and gay. Guess what about the Acolyte? He writes, Kathleen Kennedy, who runs Lucasfilm, has also experienced it with South Park. Oh my goodness. You're actually going to call out South Park for being misogynistic? Are you fucking serious? Holy crap. How delicate do your feelings have to be to call out South Park for making fun of anyone? This is such a this is a even greater reach than calling Star Wars fans istophobes because they didn't like a character in a show because they were garbage. They just happened to be female or brown or black or whatever. Oh, you're just a bigot. You're just a racist. You're just a feminist. Blah, 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 blah. Because the character was written poorly. This is an even greater reach than that. Harshly attacked her in an episode last year. The cartoon depicted Kennedy giving the same feedback to Star Wars creators over and over. Put a chick in it, make her lame and gay. Yes, it's comedy. It's funny. They're lampooning it. They're showing the sentiment online and turning it up to 11, so to speak. Interestingly, Barnes makes no mention that Bob Iger, a male, was also lampooned. Because, of course, they didn't mention that because it doesn't fit the narrative of misogyny. How can you, if you talk about Bob Iger and what the jokes they made at his expense, well, then you can't use it. You can't use it in your defense, in your attack, or anything like that. Because it doesn't work if you actually tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth. Especially when you're talking about South Park lampooning people. Oh my goodness, my feelings are hurt. Goodness gracious. It's totally misogyny. It has nothing to do with what Kennedy and Iger have done to Star Wars since they purchased it, which includes putting a chick in it and making it lame and gay. Oh boy, oh boy. Headland. Oh boy. As for Headland, she informed Barnes, as a fan myself, press X to doubt, you're butchering everything that you have in front of you. I know how frustrating some Star Wars storytelling in the past has been. I felt it myself. Oh dear. Outside of a dildo, what else have you felt? In a follow-up text message, she declared that Star Wars fans who oppose wokeness, what does she say? Quote, I stand by my empathy. My empathy for Star Wars fans, but I want to be clear. Anyone who engages in bigotry, racism, or hate speech, I don't consider a fan. Now, what do you consider bigotry, hate speech, and racism? Is that going to be any sort of criticism directed towards the Acolyte or the characters themselves and how they're written and how they're acted? Is that going to be bigotry, racism, and hate speech? Of course it is, because if you criticize anything put up by former personal assistant to Harvey Weinstein, Leslye Headland, or Star Wars or Kathleen Kennedy, anything coming from there, anything with a lead female character of color, all the checkboxes. If you criticize it, well, you are definitely a bigot, a racist, and full of hate. Anybody else getting tired of this nonsense? Let's see. Let's see. Everyone who has been on the internet knows if you are faithful. What? Okay. So, John, bless you, but we're getting into religion, and I don't like talking about that. Leslye Headland, going on and on and on again, getting everybody ready for the Acolyte, coming out with the pre-release PR campaign, getting ahead of all the criticisms. If you criticize this show, you are a bigot. You are a bad, bad person. You're a bad actor. And all of your criticism is rooted in racism, sexism, istophobia, all of the above. So instead of talking about the show, you're throwing out accusations. I cannot wait to rip this show apart. I've already watched the first 2 episodes, and I've got a lot to say. Even have a positive thing, maybe 2, to say. But anyway, that's all I've got. Let me know what you think in the comments. Do leave a dislike, do all those nifty little things that YouTubers beg you to do, and I'm going to go take speech classes. Bye-bye.